now we're going to begin talking about what's called price discrimination. And when you hear the word discrimination, of course, this sounds like a bad thing, potentially even maybe an illegal thing. But when economists talk about price discrimination, they're actually not necessarily talking about discrimination in the racist, sexist kind of way, although price discrimination can sometimes be that. Instead, price discrimination is the idea that you're going to charge different prices to different customers even though they have the same cost to serve. So let me go ahead and write that down. Charge different prices to different customers, or different market segments, we might say, even though they have the same cost to serve. Or potentially a situation could be you're charging different prices, and yes, maybe one market segment is more expensive to serve than the other, but the prices that you're charging are more than proportional to the difference in cost. So an example might be that, we see that we're going to have some people out there who are, say, for instance, unhealthy people. They have a higher demand for insurance, and they also are more costly to insure, so we charge them more. If the extra amount that we charge them is proportional or in keeping with the difference in cost, then it's not price discrimination. But if we sort of go, aha, they're desperate to have insurance, therefore I'm going to really charge a lot and charge a higher markup over the amount it takes to insure them, then that would be an example of price discrimination. So this is basically the idea of trying to charge what the market will bear, but keeping in mind that there might be many different types of customers out there, many different market segments. And in fact, in this age of the internet and high-powered computing and big data and that kind of thing, we can potentially even think of trying to charge an individual price to every single consumer out there. So if we had good data on our consumers and we knew what their zip code was and we knew what their credit rating was and we knew some information from their supermarket loyalty card and their credit card records, we could probably start to get a pretty good prediction of what their willingness to pay for a particular good was. So we could engage in a lot of consumer research and statistical analysis and really start to come up with a sophisticated price discrimination scheme. So I already hinted at it, but how do we actually practice price discrimination? We practice price discrimination by charging a price as close as possible to each person's willingness to pay. So if we can get down into the individual level, that's how we do it. At the broader level, if we're going after a market segment, what we're going to do here is charge higher prices to the market segment with the higher level of demand or the more inelastic demand. Or you could put it the other way around. That went a little bit below the recorded area, sorry about that. This says charge higher prices to market with inelastic demand. Okay, so not very helpful there. We'll go ahead and leave it there, and then we'll come back and talk about how this works in something like a graph.